All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're diving into In the Indian Jungle. And you guys send in this chapter all about, well, hunting.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not just any hunting story, though, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about hunting tigers, and specifically, one incredible story about a white tiger.
I mean, talk about rare.
Right, and that's what I'm so excited to get into. Not just the white tiger itself, but also all the little details, the danger involved in hunting something like that.
Well, we've definitely got an interesting one for today's deep dive.
Absolutely. And luckily, to help us out, we have an expert here, someone who can really give us the lowdown on not only, well, the cultural context of this whole thing,
Right.
but also the amazing lives of these tigers.
I mean, this chapter, it's a great choice for a deep dive because it gives us a peek into the role of Bagmaris in Indian culture,
The tiger slayers.
Yeah, exactly, the tiger slayers. And it describes how they used their knowledge of the jungle of tigers to hunt these incredible creatures.
I mean, just imagine.
You have to...
Setting bow traps
Yeah.
with poisoned arrows.
I know, it's like crazy.
And get this, they even had antidotes for the poisons,
Oh, yeah.
which just shows how deeply they understood these animals.
Their knowledge was just
So
incredible.
it's like straight out of an adventure novel.
Oh, totally.
Right. But you know what really caught my eye when I was reading this?
What's that?
It was this detail that these Bagmaris, they could actually tell a tiger's age just by looking at its liver.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that?
That just shows how, like, connected they were.
Crazy, right?
I mean, more than just hunting.
yeah.
I mean, they clearly had such deep respect and understanding for these animals, recognizing the tiger's power and intelligence even as they, pursued it.
Yeah, I mean, they knew these animals inside and out.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, but let's get into the story itself.
Okay, yeah.
So the Bagmari in this excerpt, he's given this task, right? He has to hunt down a white tiger that's been causing all sorts of trouble. But this tiger, it's no pushover.
No.
I mean, it manages to avoid all the traps they set for it. And because of that, the villagers, well, they start to doubt his skills.
Right.
It's like, is this guy really up to the task?
Can he really do this?
It's almost like a classic underdog story.
Yeah, right.
You've got this skilled hunter up against this incredibly cunning prey.
It's really that human versus nature.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're so fascinated by this kind of story. It's been going on for, ever.
Forever.
But then, of course, our Bagmarie,
He's not going to give up, is he?
no, he doesn't. He's determined
Yeah.
to prove himself. And he finally outsmarts the white tiger.
He gets him.
Yeah, and he kills it. But then he does like this series of rituals.
Okay.
He anoints himself with the tiger's blood, conducts a puja on its body.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's intense.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the significance of all this? What's he doing?
So it's not just about, like, celebrating a kill. It's deeper than that. They're acknowledging that power, the power of the animal they brought down.
They're showing it respect.
Exactly. It's about honoring the tiger's spirit, seeking some kind of balance.
Wow. So, I mean, they really understood that taking a life, especially one as powerful as a tiger's,
Yeah.
meant something.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, a casual thing.
Right.
But this is where the story takes a serious turn,
Okay. Yeah?
because a second tiger enters the picture,
Oh.
the mate of the slain white tiger.
Oh.
And this one is not messing around.
So they're really upping the stakes here.
Oh, yeah. We see, like, the full force of this tiger's grief, its fury. It wants revenge.
I mean, you can't blame it, can you?
Right. And imagine the fear in the village
Oh, I can only imagine.
as this tiger rampages. I mean, it's scary stuff.
It's a side of tigers we don't always think about. This fierce loyalty, this devotion.
And that's what's so cool is the book uses this term Moti Joe's twin pearls
Mhm.
to describe the bond between certain animals. And they compare it to, like those brown-breasted wild ducks.
Oh, yeah.
They're known for being, devoted pairs.
Absolutely.
It's such a fitting analogy.
It is.
And it really highlights this deep connection, this bond that even death can't break.
I know. It's beautiful, but so sad at the same time.
It really is.
Yeah.
And just like the villagers dismissed the Bagmarie at first, right?
Yeah.
They thought he was just a simple weaver.
Yeah.
They also underestimated this tiger's devotion to its mate.
They didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and they were wrong. And I think that's one of the things that I love about this story, is that it challenges our assumptions
Totally.
about both, the hunter and the hunted.
About both sides of the equation.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this story, well, it doesn't have a happy ending, does it?
No.
The second tiger, driven by its grief,
Yeah.
it confronts the villagers.
Oh.
And, well, it leads to its death.
It's heartbreaking.
I know. This tiger literally chose death over abandoning its mate.
I mean, that's powerful.
That is powerful. It's got me thinking about the complex relationship we have with nature, like the respect we owe to animals, the power of these bonds, these connections that can defy even death.
Something to really reflect on.
Absolutely. I mean, what stands out to you? What really stuck with you from this story?
I think it's that concept of moti jod. To think that, there's a bond that powerful out there in the animal kingdom.
Yeah,
It's humbling and inspiring at the same time.
it really is.
Makes you wonder about animals. Like, what do we really know about what they feel?
Yeah. Do we even fully grasp it?
Right.
But before we go too far down that road,
Okay.
there's one more detail in this chapter that I just have to bring up.
Okay. What is it?
So, the Bagmari, he describes using cobra venom on his arrows.
Oh, wow. Talk about risky.
Right. It's like, I can't even imagine.
Taking your life into your own hands.
I know. But apparently, this was pretty common for traditional hunters.
Well, it shows you just how much they knew about nature. I mean, they knew how to harness its power.
I mean, and to have antidotes for these poisons, too.
Right.
It's like a whole other level of sophistication that I think we often forget about when we think about traditional practices.
Yeah. They weren't just, messing around with dangerous stuff.
Right. They understood.
They knew what they were doing. They knew how to counteract it.
It really makes you think about their skill, their knowledge.
They were walking a fine line, using nature, but also respecting it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, like a delicate dance
Yeah, a balance.
between humanity and nature.
It's a theme that runs through the whole story, I think.
Right. This interplay,
Yeah.
this reminder that we're not separate from nature,
We're a part of it.
and our actions, just like the Bagmaris,
Yeah.
have consequences.
Ripples through the whole system.
And that feels really relevant today, especially when you think about the impact we're having on the environment.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a story about a hunt.
No.
It's about cultures, relationships between humans and animals,
Right.
that fragility of nature,
It makes you think about our choices.
the impact we have.
Wow. I mean, this deep dive is turning into quite a journey, isn't it?
It is.
Started with a white tiger hunt, and now we're talking about all these bigger issues.
That's the thing about stories. They spark these bigger conversations.
They really do. They connect us to these ideas that we might not have even thought about before.
Absolutely. And speaking of bigger conversations, I think we need to talk about the ethics of all this. I mean, the Bagmaris' actions, while they were culturally important,
Yeah.
they raised some serious questions about hunting,
Yeah.
the impact it can have on animals.
Well, and it's a complex issue.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, there's no easy answers. We have
Yeah.
to think about the context.
Right.
Back then, hunting, it was often necessary.
For survival,
Yeah. And it even played a role in keeping things balanced in nature.
right?
I mean, and in this case, the white tiger was killing cattle.
Right. It was a threat to the villager.
It could have ruined them.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, we can't ignore the ethical concerns. I mean, taking a life,
Yeah.
especially a species like the tiger,
Endangered, magnificent.
it's a tough balance to strike,
It is.
weighing human needs against the well-being of animals and the environment.
And it's a conversation that's even more important now
Yeah.
with all the challenges we face.
Or climate change.
Loss of biodiversity.
This story is like a reminder that what we do matters.
It has consequences.
And we need to think carefully about how we're impacting the natural world.
We need to find ways to coexist
Yeah.
to make sure these incredible creatures are around for future generations.
Especially with what happened to that second tiger,
Right.
driven to its death by grief.
It's a stark reminder that animals have deep emotions.
And we often don't give them enough credit for that.
Right. We don't fully appreciate their world.
Makes you question our place in all of this.
It does.
Should we be aiming for a more harmonious relationship with nature?
Yeah.
Are we doing enough to understand, to respect the needs of other species?
These are the questions we need to be asking.
Absolutely. And I think those are great questions to lead us into the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
It's funny, as we're talking, I'm realizing that this story kind of shifts our sympathies as it goes along. Like, at first, we're totally with the Bagbury.
Right.
We're like,
Yeah.
wow, look at him taking on this dangerous animal.
Yeah.
But then the further we get into it and we see the tigers bond,
Yeah.
our whole perspective starts to change.
Right. It's like it makes you question, who are we rooting for here?
Yeah. Do you think the author did that on purpose?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. The story really makes us look at our own assumptions,
Yeah.
about both the hunter and the hunted.
I mean, on the surface, you've got the Bagnery. He's skilled, he's courageous,
Right.
but he also, like, represents us, doesn't he?
In a way, yeah. He's like humanity intruding on this natural order that existed long before we did.
And the tigers, which we usually think of as these ferocious beasts,
Yeah.
they become symbols of something else entirely.
Like love, loyalty.
Yeah.
That deep connection to nature that we've kind of lost touch with.
It's making me think of all those old myths and stories, where hunters get punished for messing with the balance of things.
Oh, yeah. Like there's some divine retribution for overstepping your bounds.
Exactly. It's like a universal message woven into these narratives. Like,
Mhm.
hey, we need to respect nature, understand that we're a part of it, not above it.
And when we forget that,
Yeah.
the consequences can be pretty bad.
Well, I mean, look at the tiger's rampage. The terror it caused in the village. That's nature pushing back.
Yeah, like don't mess with me.
Right. It's a reminder that we can't just exploit the natural world without expecting some kind of response. But I do think it's important to remember that the Bagnery isn't really a villain here.
No, definitely not.
I mean, he's a member of his community.
Yeah. Skilled, takes pride in his work.
And he's trying to protect his people.
Exactly. He sees this tiger as a threat, and it's his duty to deal with it.
Right. He's not being cruel.
Yeah.
He's acting out of responsibility.
But even with good intentions,
Yeah.
sometimes there can be unintended consequences.
Nothing can go wrong.
And that's what makes this story even more thought-provoking.
Yeah. Because there's no easy answers.
There's no clear good guy, bad guy. It's just this nuanced look at our relationship with nature.
A mix of admiration and fear.
Respect, but also the desire to control.
It's all tangled up together.
And that ambiguity is what makes it so compelling.
It forces us to really look at our own ideas about humans, about animals,
Mm.
and to admit that our actions, they have ripple effects.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So we need to approach these issues with empathy, understanding.
Trying to find solutions that work for both humans and nature.
I mean, this story is from another time, another place,
Yeah.
but it feels so relevant today, doesn't it?
It really does. Especially with all the environmental challenges we're facing.
I mean, the story is about balance, respect, consequences.
those are all things we need to be talking about right now.
Yeah.
It's like a call to action. We got to examine our impact on the planet, find ways to live with all this amazing diversity around us.
Absolutely. And it's not just about grand gestures.
No.
It's about realizing that even our small choices,
Yeah.
they can have ripple effects.
Like that butterfly effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One small change can lead to unpredictable results.
And this story really illustrates that, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bagmary's decision to hunt that white tiger,
Yeah.
which he did to protect his village,
Right.
it sets off this chain of events.
That ends up with both tigers dead.
Right. And the village forever changed.
It's a reminder that we need to think about our choices.
And what might happen.
Yeah. But there is a little bit of hope in the story too, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the villagers, despite everything, they find a way to move on.
They rebuild.
Yeah. They carry on their traditions.
It's that human resilience.
Exactly. It's that ability to heal, to adapt, to grow, even after tragedy.
And I think it reminds us that we can learn from the past.
Yeah.
Find ways to live in harmony with nature.
But to do that,
Yeah.
we have to pay attention
To the stories,
yeah,
the warning.
wisdom that nature offers.
We're not separate from it.
No, we're a part of it. Our fate is tied to the health of this planet.
To all the life it supports.
And that's a pretty humbling thought.
It is.
Yeah.
We're not masters of nature.
No.
We're just participants in this huge web of life.
I want to go back to something we touched on earlier, though. The white tiger itself.
Okay.
It seems like it's more than just, part of the plot.
Right.
It's almost symbolic.
Yeah, I mean, white tigers, because they're so rare,
Mm-hmm.
they've often been seen as omens, spiritual beings,
Oh, interesting.
and their appearance is usually linked to change, disruption.
Like a challenge to the established order. And in this story, the white tiger's arrival does disrupt the village's peace.
For sure.
It forces them to face their fears, their beliefs.
It's like that white coat is a blank slate.
Oh, I like that.
And it gives the villagers a chance to rethink their relationship with nature.
To question where they fit in.
Yeah,
So the white tiger is this catalyst for change
for introspection.
for both the Bagmari and the community.
Right.
And the fact that it's a mated pair, well, that adds another layer, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Absolutely. I mean, their bond, their devotion,
Even in death.
it represents this natural order. Powerful, unbreakable.
You could say that the Bagmari's actions, even though he had good reasons,
Right.
they violate that order.
And that leads to the tragedy.
To both tigers dying
Yeah,
and the village having to reevaluate everything.
it's a powerful message.
It is.
Yeah.
That we can't mess with the balance of nature without consequences.
And true harmony comes from understanding, from respecting that interconnectedness of all life.
But as we dig deeper into this story, there's another thing I find really interesting. It's the cultural context.
Oh, that's crucial.
We've been looking at this through, our modern lens.
Right.
But these events happened in a specific time, a specific place.
With its own set of beliefs and practices.
Exactly. We can't just analyze it based on how we see the world today.
Right. We have to remember the role of the Bagmari, the hunting rituals.
The way they viewed tigers.
All steeped in Indian culture and tradition.
It's a reminder that how we see the world is shaped by our backgrounds, by the stories we've inherited.
So when we engage with stories from different cultures, we open ourselves up to new perspectives.
We challenge our assumptions.
We start to appreciate the richness and diversity of human experience.
It's a journey of discovery, isn't it?
It is. Exploring other cultures, their belief systems, finding common ground.
It helps us understand ourselves better
Our place in the world.
and how we're all connected.
To each other and to all living things.
It reminds us that we're part of this global community.
Sharing this planet, its resources.
And what we do has an impact beyond our own borders.
It's a powerful message. One of hope, of possibility.
Yeah. That by embracing diversity, fostering empathy, working together,
Yeah.
we can create a future where both humanity and nature thrive.
That's the future we need to be working towards.
Yeah, it makes you realize it's so easy to look back and judge,
Mm-hmm.
But we have to try and understand the context.
We've got to see things from their perspective.
And, think about it. We've learned so much since then
Oh, tons.
about animals, ecosystems, the impact we have. We have to use that knowledge to make better choices now.
Oh, absolutely. But as we're figuring all this out,
Yeah.
we can't forget about respecting other cultures.
Right.
We can't just impose our values on the past. We have to understand where they were coming from.
So it's like finding that middle ground
Yeah,
between preserving traditions
right.
and also protecting animals and the environment.
Exactly. It's tricky, but I think talking about it, educating people,
Yeah.
that's key. Sharing stories like this one, discussing the tough questions, hearing different perspectives.
And that can help us understand each other better
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully come up with solutions that work for everyone.
Solutions where everyone wins, humans and nature.
It reminds us that we're never done learning right now.
Never.
We should always question what we think we know.
Always be open to new ideas.
And stories like this one, they're the perfect opportunity for that. They're exciting. They give us these cultural insights.
Right.
And they make us think about what's right and wrong.
They really challenge us.
They encourage us to step outside our comfort zones,
To see things from a different angle.
to really think about how we're all connected.
To each other, to the natural world, it's all a delicate web.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive. We've gone from Indian tiger hunting to cultural significance
Right.
to these huge ethical questions about, how we treat animals.
We've seen the power of nature.
Yeah.
The depth of emotion in animals.
And bonds that can literally defy death.
It's a story that stays with you.
It really does. And it makes you think hard about our place in all of this
About our relationship with nature.
and about the choices we make and how they affect everything.
Every choice has a ripple effect.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final thought.
A question for you to ponder.
We've looked at this white tiger hunt from all sides.
Cultural, emotional, ecological.
But here's the thing. Does knowing the cultural context, knowing how deeply those tigers were bonded,
Right.
does that change how you see what the Bagmari did?
Can we reconcile those old traditions with what we know now about conservation, about animal welfare?
It's a tough question. There's no easy answers,
But it's a question worth asking ourselves
especially as we face the challenges of today.
as we're trying to build a future where both people and nature can thrive.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of the white tiger of Gangpur.
It's been amazing to explore these ideas with you all.
Until next time, keep those questions coming.
Keep exploring, keep wondering, and never lose sight of that amazing connection we all share with the natural world.